Agriculture before the discovery of oil was the mainstay of Nigeria's economy, with cocoa in the southwest, groundnut pyramid in the north, and palm oil in the eastern part of the country. Agriculture, as a branch of the economy, provides employment for 30% of the population, with the sector being transformed through commercialization at small, medium, and large-scale enterprise strata. Nigeria promotes the use of inorganic fertilizers with 82 million hectares out of the country's total land area of 91 million hectares found to be arable. With this development, to what extent has the country been able to take advantage of this to boost food production? This and more are some of the issues forming the basis for discourse on this edition of Stepping Up. My guest is a ranking member of the House of Representatives, who is also the chairman of the House Committee on Agriculture, representing Hon Monguno and Ngazia Federal Constituency of Borno State, in person of Honorable Mohammed Tahir Monguno. You will get to meet my guest after the break. My name is Kemi Fakeye. You are welcome. We are reaching you from the office of the Chairman, House Committee on Agriculture, Honorable Mohammed Tahir Monguno, who is stepping up on this platform this week. Honorable, you're welcome to Stepping Up.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you. Without wasting time, let's kick off the program. What is your impression about meeting the food needs of Nigerians through local production?
Well, you know, there are a lot of efforts being made by the government towards meeting local food production, not only for our own food security, but also for the purpose of our export. And towards achieving that direction, a lot of steps have been taken by the government. One is this issue of Anchor Borrowers Program, whereby farmers will have access to loan at various single-digit interest rate through the Anchor Borrowers Program of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and then also link up with app takers so that they will get a very good price for their produce. And towards that direction, especially with regard to rice production, a lot of states have engaged in this massive production of rice in Jigawa, Kebbi, Kano, Sokoto, in Waterview, the Anchor Borrowers Program. Then also access to fertilizer is also a very key component. It's sine qua non to massive food production. Right now, through the presidential initiative on fertilizer, the price of fertilizer has now crossed to 5,500, as opposed to when the price of fertilizer has risen to more than 10,000 naira before. Then issue of mechanization is also very, very important. So rather than engaging in the acquisition of big agricultural machineries, government has, through the National Agricultural Mechanization, the National Center for Agricultural Mechanization, have produced a lot of local machineries for the purpose of milling rice and the purpose of cultivation and water view that will be given to farmers at subsidized rate with a view to increasing food production. Then also steps are being taken for the purpose of recapitalization of the Bank of Agriculture so that the bank can give farmers loan at single-digit interest rate. So these are some of the efforts that are being made by government for the purpose of increasing local food production, and also the drive towards increasing or focusing on research and development.
Some of the bills that have been assented to by the President, what efforts or what steps is the legislature taking to ensure full and adequate implementation of this bill to boost agricultural production in Nigeria?
Well, you know, we have a committee on legislative compliance. The National Assembly observed that resolutions that were passed and also laws that were assented to by Mr. President sometimes need follow-up for them to be implemented. Though, as per Section 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, the power of implementation is vested with the executive arm of government. So, but that notwithstanding, we have a committee on legislative compliance that is charged with the responsibility of following up on all the bills and resolutions that we have passed to make sure that it is implemented so that Nigerians will get the benefit of the passage of these bills. The National Assembly being a parliament that is accountable and also responsible to the yearnings and aspirations of the people that gave us the mandate to represent them. Then in addition to that, was a whole lot of bills that we have passed. The Nigerian Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme bill, that one has been passed. It has been passed it has also been assented to. And then one of the major challenges that we have is this issue of fertilizer. We have passed the fertilizer bill. The House of Representatives, we have passed the fertilizer bill. It is awaiting concurrence by the Senate. And that bill essentially seeks to regulate the fertilizer industry with a view to stopping quackery, adulteration, and what have you, and also regulating even the price of fertilizer, because it's also one of the key components in achieving and attaining as well as sustaining very good food production in this country.
Adding value to agricultural produce in Nigeria, do you say the country is on course?
One of the major challenges we have in this country is that our research and development, or what we call R&D, is not that well developed. All the outcome of our research and development are normally allowed to remain in the shelves. It is not being extended, one, to farmers, and then it's not being extended to commercial companies to take it up. So this is one of the major challenges that we have. So in the 2017 budget, having regard to that challenge, substantial amount of money has been devoted to the Agricultural Research Institute so that they will step off the research and development efforts. And I will use this medium to call upon our big commercial companies to take off the outcome of this research that our various research institutes have been doing. For example, in the Cocoa Research Institute, they have developed a very good chocolate that is comparable to all this Bounty or what have you, that these big names in the chocolate industry. But the problem is that there is no company that will now take it up and scale it up to commercial production, you know. But they have a very good chocolate. The same thing when it comes to, for example, Lecture Research Institute. The wheat they produce, they have developed a lot of in my own language we call it chinchin. I don't know what you call it in Hausa. Chinchin and all these cakes that is produced out of beans. You know, if our companies can also take it up and produce it in commercial quantity, it is going to go a long way in adding value to our own agricultural produce. So our major challenge now is for our companies to take the outcome of this research, the outcome of this research that our research institutes have done, and then upscale it into commercial quantity rather than engaging in mass importation of these things from outside the country and then having a strain on our limited foreign reserve.
The program is still stepping up. We call for a short break now. We'll continue from where we stop when we are back. Do stay with us. You are welcome back. The program is Stepping Up from the stable of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA International. And I still have as my guest the Chairman, House Committee on Agriculture, in person of Honorable Mohammed Tahir Monguno, who is stepping up on the program. And we are discussing the development in the agricultural sector in Nigeria, how it can be improved upon, where we are, and where Nigeria hopes to be in the very near future in terms of agricultural production. Honorable, before we went on break, we were talking about adding value to agricultural produce in Nigeria, where we are, and you were appealing to multinational companies in Nigeria to support our research institutes to ensure that the results of their researches, well, does not end on the shelf. And what else do you also want them to do in ensuring that we scale up the result of researches concerning adding value to agricultural produce in the country, apart from ensuring that they take the result of their research and expand on it to ensure that they start producing on a large scale and also add value to it, as it's been done in the international community?
Well, then the other one that I want to call upon our companies to do, especially the flour millers, is the issue of backward integration. Okay. What I mean by backward integration, right now there is a major drive towards cassava bread. You know, Nigeria is one of the highest producers of cassava in the world. So we should not allow this produce to waste. We should make use of what we have, or we should consume what we have. So already there is a policy whereby flour millers are supposed to use certain percentage of cassava flour in the making of bread. And the flour millers are still not adhering to that policy of government. And the excuse they give is that they have not configured their machines in what have you to mix wheat and cassava flour for the purpose of producing bread. So I am appealing to them to emphasize on this policy of backward integration and also use percentage of cassava flour in the making of bread. So there is a need for these flour millers through the policy of backward integration to also engage in assisting the Lecture Research Institute that is statutorily mandated for the purpose of engaging in research of in wheat. And they have succeeded in bringing out quite a number of variety of wheat like Norman Bullock, Attila, that has the capacity of producing more per hectare as it used to be.
What about an area of funding of researchers? I do think they are doing enough.
In the course of my opening remark, I said it's not enough. The amount of money we are devoting to funding research is not enough. Compared to, for example, in Brazil, the Embrapa, their premier research agency called Embrapa, they devote about $1 billion annually for the purpose of research and development and what have you. Our own is not up to that amount. Even the whole budget of the agri sector is not that amount. Our capital budget is not up to a quarter of that amount. So in order to get result, you must invest in research and development. Research and development is key to massive food production, and we must invest in agriculture if we are going to attain full self-sufficiency in food production.
In terms of budgetary allocation to the agricultural sector, will you say Nigeria has met the Maputo Declaration?
Definitely Nigeria has never even come near to meeting the Maputo Declaration, because in the 2017 budget, we only devoted 1.7% of our national budget to the agricultural sector, as against the Maputo Declaration that urges all African countries to devote at least 10% of their budget to the agricultural sector. And in Nigeria, the agricultural sector is a sector that we cannot afford to relegate to the background. It accounts for 70% of our employment and 47% of our gross domestic product. So it's a sector that we cannot afford to relegate to the background. We should invest heavily in that sector. And also, it's a sector that has the capacity for engaging our unemployed youth in meaningful production, in meaningful employment. And then all this issue of insecurity that we are having, whether it is insurgency in the northeast, kidnappings in the south, or armed robbery in the southeast, all this are purely as a result of unemployment. So if the youths are meaningfully engaged, especially in agriculture, this issue of insecurity will be a thing of the past. And for us to achieve that, we have to really walk the talk by increasing the budget of the agricultural sector, even if we cannot attain the 10% Maputo Declaration because of the competing demands as well as the limited resources in the country. At least we should devote at least 5% to the sector.
What is the import of the drying up of Lake Chad on the northeast and other neighboring states and countries?
The impact of drying up of Lake Chad, purely as a result of climate change, the Lake Chad has dried up significantly, and it has affected the livelihood of at least 3 million people that are having a means of livelihood in the shores of the Lake Chad, whether it's fishing, whether it is farming, and what have you. And it stretches across Nigeria, Cameroon, Chad, and Niger. People that have means of livelihood. So even the problem of Boko Haram that we are having now can be attributable to the drying of the Lake Chad, because I know that youths in my constituency, when we are young, when Lake Chad was Lake Chad, it has not dried up like that. People in my constituency, they don't even know government. They don't look up to government for anything. They engage in farming, whether it is vegetables, whether it is fishing, and what have you. And they have a means of livelihood. They are very, very comfortable. But now that the Lake Chad has dried off, most of these youths are now unemployed. And then they became a veritable recruiting ground for Boko Haram insurgency. So the drying off of the Lake Chad has significantly affected the livelihood of not less than 3 million people along the Lake Chad.
Successive administrations in Nigeria have tried to revive the Lake Chad, but with little or no success, so to say. What efforts is your committee now making, to fast track the legislation on this project?
As I told you earlier on, it is multilateral in nature. It's not something that involves Nigeria alone. If it is Nigeria alone, we can pass the legislation, and it's going to be binding. And it involves a lot of countries, so it will take time to see the light of the day. But the House of Representatives, considering the importance of the Lake Chad to the survival and the security of this country, has specifically set up a standing committee that is charged with the responsibility of coordinating and oversighting over issues that are related to the Lake Chad. And that committee is performing its functions statutorily well.
What have you been doing to support smallholder farmers, especially in your constituency and in Borno State generally, to pick up their means of livelihood now that the country is winning the war against Boko Haram?
Well, what we are doing as a committee to support smallholder farmers generally in this country, and particularly with regard to the IDPs that are going back, we have a component through our own initiative in the budget for the purpose of training and empowerment of youth and women in various aspects of agriculture, whether it is horticulture, aquaculture, and what have you, because we are observed, and we know as a matter of fact that the vast majority of the people that are engaged in farming in the rural areas are youth and women. So there is need to train them and empower them for the purpose of engaging in that. So that is our own legislative intervention in the 2017 budget. With regard to the IDPs that are now returning back to pick their pieces of life, there is need, one, to give them seedlings. Seedlings, very important. Improved seedlings, which we have in the budget. Then there is also to need to give them fertilizer at subsidized rate. That's why I will commend the Presidential Committee on Initiative on Fertilizer and what have you. It will go a long way in reducing the price of fertilizer, because the price of fertilizer has now been reduced to 5,500 per bag, as compared to last year when it has even skyrocketed up to 15,000, 18,000, even at some places 10,000. We have witnessed in this country instances when sun or sometimes other things were sold to farmers in the name of fertilizer, when actually it is not fertilizer. So it discourages adulteration and then quackery in the industry and what have you. Because right now I know we have about 32 blending plants, and then already 11 are operational, and then more will come on board.
What plans or projects do you have for IDPs in the constituency you are representing?
The National Assembly, having regard to the devastation that is caused in the Northeast as a result of Boko Haram insurgency, and the fact that as a result of this insurgency, our economy is now in a state of comatose. Our infrastructure has been destroyed. We have already passed the bill on the establishment of the Northeast Development Commission, and it's awaiting assent by Mr. President. Well, for my own constituency, we have already, I have in the budget, one, put drilling of borehole for people to go back and stay in an environment that is need for them for provision of water, because even our water system, water supply and water have been destroyed by the insurgents. Then we also have provision for them for fertilizer, so that they could go back into farming. We have provision for them for improved seedlings, so that they can get these seedlings and then go back into farming. So these are some of the projects that we have outlined for the IDPs that are going back to pick their pieces of life.
Chairman, House Committee on Agriculture, Honorable Mohammed Tahir Monguno, it's been nice talking with you on Stepping Up this week. Thank you very much, sir.
It's a pleasure meeting you. I'm looking forward for more of this interaction.
Thank you very much. That's Stepping Up from the stable of the Nigerian Television Authority. You can send your comments and questions into the various platforms scrolling on your screen. My name is Kemi Fakeye. Thank you for being there, and bye for now.